Welcome to Wambo Talk. I'm your host, Sanchez. This is my co-host,
Gabriel Placencia.
And today we're talking about virtual reality. Yes, we're talking about virtual reality.
Is it the future?
Well, some people say that's very controversial, Gabriel, but I don't know. It can be or it can't be. So you were saying?
Well, virtual reality, if you guys don't know at home, it is a simulated environment which makes everything in the world around you feel a bit more realistic what you're seeing in front of the screen.
And the first one to actually come up on sale for consumers is the HTC Vive, which is costing pretty pricey, which around $1,000 just for the HTC Vive itself. And that's not counting the computer and the software that it needs to run. That's around $2,000 alone. While the cheapest one is the Google Cardboard, which is only around $25. And yes, it is just cardboard.
Now, I myself had some experience with the virtual reality with the HTC M7. We could simulate how it actually is with the headset on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Basically, you put it in front of your face and you're like, whoa, what? Oh my God, oh, virtual reality around my face.
And the Samsung one, the Samsung Galaxy, what was it called again?
Edge 7.
It's actually costing around $99, but you actually have to buy the phone. So that's pricey on itself.
Yeah, depending on if you get it without a contract, it's still pricey. And statistics show that sales aren't really, they're not really doing good. And, it's downhill slope from there as soon as it launched.
The hype actually started back when, 2010 with Oculus Rift announcing that they're working on something. Oculus Rift is actually a company that's owned by Facebook. Am I right, Gabriel?
Yes, it was bought for, I believe, nearly $1 billion.
I think it was like $250 million.
$250 million, okay.
Somewhere too high for
some high spot.
Yeah.
People really wanted to get their hands on virtual reality because they see it as the future. They see it as money, as something that's going to be successful. But as we see now that virtual reality is becoming a bit more available to the public, it's not doing so well.
What I'm hearing is, what I've done, because I actually own the HTC Vive, is there's not a lot of stuff on it.
No, there isn't. There's not much development going into
the
games in there.
And with what PlayStation 4 is doing, they're releasing like a basic combination of their headset and then the PlayStation 4, which is costing like what, $500?
Yeah. Then you also have to have a PlayStation 4.
That's what, roughly around $700 now?
Yes.
Wow. And the biggest problem right here is there's not many developers out there developing games or movies, actually. Because I know there's movies. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
there's just, people aren't really developing much for it because they're not seeing as much potential as it did before when it was first in the early stages, when people were really excited to see it. It was new. It still is new. But because of the price, people aren't really buying it and developers aren't really developing much for them.
So then it's kind of like the Tesla. It's really expensive and only the people that are actually dedicated to the actually caring about it are the ones actually buying it compared to the public consumers, which would be just like the audience. They would probably afford, the Google Cardboard because it's cheaper and the PlayStation VR, which is cheaper for their children, but is it still the future? Do we still see it pushing forward to the future, or is it more of a corporation, like those big corporations like Sony, Google, HTC? Is it just mostly like where it's being pushed by them, or is it as a corporation, like as a whole themselves, are they pushing forward?
I feel like these corporations, they're pushing their product forward. They want money. They're making it a big thing now. It's been a big thing, but it's all over the media, but it's not doing so well, and people aren't willing to pay that type of money.
Because as the way I'm seeing it is, PlayStation and them, they're trying to monopolize the whole entire what's the word? Business for itself. Trying to make the most out of it, try to milk it, and not really caring about the consumer. Am I right?
Yeah.
But again, is it the future? That's what I'm asking myself, because I actually use my HTC Vibe, and it's not that different. It's just like one big giant screen in front of me. I'm just able to, it's kind of like the Wii U, but just with the Wii right in front, like the screen right in front of my face. That's how I feel it is.
Yeah, I've used virtual reality before, and it really is surprising when you first use it, because you see reviews online, and the reviews, like you don't get to experience it for yourself. It's a completely different thing when you do experience it for yourself. It is really cool, but the thing is, would people find themselves using it as often as it's advertised to be like that cool to use on a daily basis?
So we're gonna wrap this up, you guys. Sorry, we don't have enough time to talk about it. We'll have our next special guest coming up. It's gonna be Prince and David Bowie right next to us. And see you next week.